Okay, today we are going to talk about traffic patterns. So, yesterday we talked about the different zones or the different areas or spaces within a house and how they serve different functions. So, we have the private zone, we have the public zone or the social zone, the utility zone, it could be the work zone. Um, so, you can call it different things, but each area of the house usually has kind of a different purpose, and so there are different needs. But now we're going to talk about how do we move from space to space because you're going to need to get from one location to the next, and the way that we repeatedly walk is going to be what the traffic pattern is. So we usually walk in the same way from one place to the other, from one area to the other within the same room. It's necessary and it's avoidable, and it's really important when it comes to the planning out of your space. Okay, so people move throughout the home every day, so usually walking in the shortest distance possible between 2 points. So these walkways are referred to as traffic patterns, circulation, or traffic flow. So we have a couple different types of traffic patterns. We have service circulation, work circulation, family circulation, and guest circulation. Okay, so when we think about service circulation is going to be how people move in and out of the house to make deliveries, maintain appliances, and take out the garbage. So all of the things that need to be done in the running of the house. So bringing in groceries, taking out the garbage, all of those things have their own traffic flow. We also have work circulation. So this includes how people move from the kitchen to the dining areas, the kitchen triangle. So remember that the kitchen triangle is a triangle that connects the refrigerator, the stove, and the sink, and also from the bedrooms to the utility room. So just some tips for general traffic flow is that no cross traffic should be allowed to interfere with the work circulation. So kitchen and dining areas should be adjacent to each other. You wouldn't want to have your kitchen on the completely opposite side of your house as your dining room, since typically you would be carrying food in from the kitchen into the dining room. The kitchen and service entrance should also be adjacent. So typically you're going to have a lot of garbage that accumulates in the kitchen, and so then you would have to take that out on garbage night. You would also be bringing in groceries, so your kitchen needs to be pretty close to or right next to the service entrance. And then we have the work triangle, so the traffic pattern between the sink, the refrigerator, and the cooking units. So the range or stove, oven, and microwave. And then those you don't want to exceed 22 feet in total length. So the reason behind that is if you get them too far away, it's more likely that you have to walk a greater distance. So that would potentially cause a traffic jam, for lack of a better term. So somebody else crossing through to get to somewhere else in the kitchen. Okay, so we also have family circulation. So this includes traffic between bedrooms and bathrooms, foyers and living rooms, foyers and bedroom areas, living rooms and patios, living rooms and dining rooms. Okay, so just some general tips for those types of circulation. Rooms should not be cut in half by traffic patterns. So you don't really want to have a walkway in the middle of your living room or your great room. High frequency routes should be short and simple. So you shouldn't have to walk very far to get from, let's say, the bedroom to the bathroom. Related rooms are close together. So typically you are going to see like your bedrooms kind of in the same location, close together. And then you always want to make sure that a bathroom is located close to the bedroom. So when we think about guest circulation, so it includes from the entry to the coat closet, from the entry to the living room, and from the living room to the bathroom. So those are just the paths that your guests will typically have to take. So if you take a look at this, this traffic pattern on the floor plan, you might see that there is at least one major glaring um, issue when it comes to guest circulation. Okay, and hopefully you've spotted that in order to get to the bathroom, your guests would have to walk through your bedroom. So it would definitely be a much better design to kind of like shuffle some things around and have a separate entrance to the bathroom that's not from the bedroom. Everywhere else, it's not too bad, but that's definitely not an ideal traffic pattern. Okay, so just some more tips. Involve movement from the entry to coat closet to the living room with access to a bathroom. So guests should be able to move from entry to the living area without having to pass through other rooms. So guests should also not need to cross work or private family areas because typically you want to keep those private. So this would be an example of a not so great traffic flow. There's a lot of traffic that's happening in this great room. So it's almost becoming like a main thoroughfare. So it's almost like a giant hallway. So any furniture that you would place in this room is really going to feel like it's in the way, even though it really isn't in the way. Okay, we also have some problems when it comes to door swings. You can see that this door swings this way, this door swings this way, and at some point they could crash into one another. It's also very awkward that your washer and dryer are in the line of the door swing too, so anybody who is doing their laundry, not realizing that somebody is coming in from the garage, could be hit by the door. There's also just a lot of doors right here, which is not super duper ideal. So it doesn't flow nearly as well. Okay, this is a much more smooth traffic flow, so they've moved a few things around, so the covered deck is now over here. So it's a much more smooth transition from the kitchen to their barbecue, which is something to consider. So, for example, in my house, I have to go, through another room and then out a door in order to get to where my grill is, and it's just not really a smooth flow. So I would probably have designed this house a little bit differently, but there's only so much you can do for an existing house. So something to think about, how guests are going to travel to the living room when you're entertaining. So are they going to have to go through any of the private areas of your home? How are they going to get to the bathroom or the powder room? And then is the kitchen handy for serving food and drinks to your guests when you are entertaining? Also think about children in the home. So when you come home from school, do you go directly to your room? Is there a place for all of your coats and jackets and shoes and backpacks to kind of land? Do you have for the living room or your family room? Do you bring friends home to swim in the pool? If you do have a pool, if they need to go to the bathroom, are they going to have to go through the entire house dripping wet? So what are your plans for that? Okay, so what is the traffic flow in the kitchen? So is the cook or the person who's preparing the meal able to prepare the meal without worrying about constantly walking into someone who's going by? So you definitely don't want the kitchen to be in between two heavily used areas, because there's going to be a lot of cross traffic and that might get in the way. If people can eat in their rooms or living area, can they get there without leaving a Hansel and Gretel trail throughout the entire house? So if you want them to be able to eat in their rooms, you probably don't want it to be too far away from where the kitchen is. If you spend a lot of time grilling outside or on the patio, is it convenient to the inside food prep area, or is it kind of a roundabout way to get there? Can you bring groceries in right from the outside without having to go through the living room? Okay, so just some things to think about, and maybe some of these things aren't things that you are highly invested in, or they don't really bother you if you have to take a few extra steps. But it is important, especially if you're building your own house or you're designing your own house, that you think about some of these things in the process of your design.